Hey y'all, and welcome back to the channel. So Thanksgiving weekend is one of the biggest weekends in the box office of the year. So I anticipated a huge jump this week, a lot of interesting stories, so we'll go ahead and get started with The Hunger Games: Songbirds of Snakes. Going into its second weekend, only dropped 35%. Now, this is something I talked about in last week's video where I could see the positive buzz about this movie resulting in it having good legs, and then going into the Thanksgiving holiday, maybe if other new releases weren't quite as well received as expected, maybe we could see it end up at number one again and not dropping too much. That's exactly what happened. 35% is absolutely outstanding. I would expect it to drop quite a bit next week, but for now, it looks like that's the big winner of the Thanksgiving holiday, and the producers of the film can walk away saying that, okay, the quality of the movie is starting to supersede the lack of hype beforehand, and last week's box office not being particularly great for the franchise. Now, the even better news is that this movie has now made $154 million worldwide off of a budget of $100 million. So, don't get me wrong, that $100 million price tag does not include the marketing budget, so they still have quite a ways to go. I'm sure it's not cheap marketing out this movie, but I would say $100 million max would be its marketing budget, so I do think that they are going to end up seeing a profit on this movie. It's hopefully going to keep inching up there to cross $200 million because there's not really a whole lot happening here before Christmas. The beginning of December is notoriously not great for new releases. So Songbirds and Snakes has fantastic legs. It's not going to be number one next weekend. Next weekend's number one is going to be Renaissance, the Beyonce movie. That's going to destroy everything else. But maybe Songbirds and Snakes can be number two in there, and we should see it continue to make a little bit of money here and there as we, close out the year. Then at number two, we had Napoleon, who over its 3-day weekend opened up to $20 million. Over the 4-day, I think it was about $28 million, and worldwide it has made $78 million so far off of a budget of approximately $200 million. The reporting is kind of vague on here. I think it's either between 150, 200 million, but either way, normally I wouldn't be hitting the panic button too soon on an opening like this for a historical drama, but for Napoleon, I kind of will, because it has not been getting great reception from audiences so far. It seems like across the internet, people don't really like this movie, or people that like this movie don't love it, so I think that is going to result in a huge dip next weekend. Beyonce is certainly not going to help it, but for the price tag of this movie, this thing is not going to make money in the theater format. It is going to Apple TV Plus at some point, I don't know when, and it's going to be a 4-hour cut of the movie. If you've seen my review for the film, you know that I didn't really like it, but I am going to watch the 4-hour version because hopefully there's some scenes in there that were missing from the film that gives us more context on the character. But I think that this is an example of a movie coming out, not getting particularly great reception, and that impacting the box office. Now, don't get me wrong, this is good for a historical drama. What it is, this is good, but it's just not going to have legs. This thing isn't going to make money in the theaters, but it did manage to beat number 3, Disney's Wish, which was a huge shock for me. This is a Disney animated movie opening up on Thanksgiving weekend. It's the 100th anniversary film for Disney, the biggest studio in Hollywood. And this thing made $19.5 million in the 3-day weekend, $49 million worldwide. This thing is nothing short of an embarrassment. It is not well received. I've heard of a lot of people not only disliking this film, but hating this movie, and it heavily impacted the box office. I mean, here you are on Thanksgiving weekend, parents are looking for an excuse to get the heck out of the house and get the kids out of there. They want to go to the movies, and this thing didn't make any money. It made $19.5 million, and right now, this is just a testament that Disney is in a tough spot right now, and we're starting to see the culmination of decisions that were made years ago by Bob Chapek, the old CEO, and it's affecting Disney now. So this movie, apparently it wasn't good, it didn't make any money, this thing is embarrassing to the company. Like, it's Thanksgiving weekend, you opened up behind a historical drama that made $20 million? Really? I mean, yeah, you had Trolls 3 there at number 4 that had some competition in there, but I mean, that movie's made $145 million worldwide in 2 weekends. Wish is lucky if it gets that at all. I mean, I definitely don't think it's going to hit 150, 160. I think they're lucky to get the box office of Trolls 3, and Trolls 3 has only been open for 2 weeks. So that's my negative rant for the week. But other stories here with the box office, you had the Holdovers actually gaining 2 percentage points weekend over weekend. Now, it did open up in 100 more theaters this weekend than it did in the last weekend, but this movie is kind of showing that it has pretty dang good legs so far. It's consistently there, just outside of the top 5, but, you know, it's at the number 7 spot this weekend. It's beating some newer indie films that have a similar amount of theaters that it's in, and honestly, I could see the Holdovers continuing to make a little bit of money. Apparently, it's a holiday movie. I haven't gone out and seen it yet. I know I need to. Apparently, it's fantastic, but it's getting fantastic reviews, and it's proving to have pretty decent legs, so don't get me wrong, this movie's not going to make $100 million. I think it has $17 million worldwide, but it wouldn't shock me if this movie found a way to get to $30 million. And then Saltburn opened up to $6 million this weekend. I believe it was at the number 9 spot. That's not terribly shocking for me. This is a really, really weird movie that goes out there with some of the things that it does. So this was never going to be a $30 million opening film. I'm sure this is what the studio expected, and yeah. But that's everything that I had to go over with the box office this weekend. Thank you so much for watching this video up to this point, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this and want to see more. I'll see you guys next time.